Hello everyone, myself Mr. Kale Prasad Anil, lecturer at Mula Education Society's Mula Rural Institute of Pharmacy, Sonai. Today we will going to discuss surgical dressings. Content of this chapter are properties of surgical dressings, cotton, gauze, bandages, adhesive tapes, other hospital supply, types of syringes, maintenance of IV lines, catheters, and IV sets. The surgical dressings are used to cover the wounds so that it helps in quick healing of wound. These are also used for medication purpose and to absorb and retain a wide range of fluids from the blood and serous exudate of damaged tissue. Then we will study about ideal properties of surgical dressings. So properties are as below. It should be non-adherent to the skin surface. It should have the maximum absorbing capacity. It should be cheap and non-inflammable. It should be free from foreign substances that cause tissue reactions such as allergy or hypersensitivity. It should be capable of being sterilized by conventional methods. It should be unaffected by industrial solvents such as detergents and oils. It should have sufficient tensile strength. It should be smooth on both the surfaces. It should have constant physical properties under normal conditions of storage and use. Then we have to study about the cotton. First of all, category. Surgical aid for cleaning and swabbing wounds, preoperative skin preparation, application of medicament, supplementary absorbent pad to absorb excess wound exudate. Description. It is white, soft, fine filament like hair appearing under the microscope as hollow, flattened and twisted bands, straight and slightly thickened at the edges. It is practically odorless and tasteless. Then solubility. It is insoluble in ordinary solvents and soluble in ammoniated cupric oxide. Then packaging and storage. Packages are in rolls of not more than 500 gram of continuous lap with lightweight paper running under the entire lap enclosed and sealed in well-closed container. Labeling. Label bears a statement that sterility cannot guaranteed if the package bear evidence of damage or if the package has been opened previously. Alkalinity or acidity. Thoroughly saturated about 10 gram with 100 ml of recently boiled and cooled water. Then with the aid of glass rod, press out 225 ml portion of water into white porcelain dishes. To one portion add 3 drops of phenolphthalein and to the other portion add 1 drop of methyl orange. No pink color develops in either portion. The next point, residue on ignition. Place about 5 gram accurately weighed in a porcelain or platinum dish and moisten with diluted sulfuric acid. Gently heat the cotton until it is charred, then ignite more strongly until the carbon is completely consumed. Cool in a desiccator, weigh and calculate the percentage of residue. Then fiber length and absorbency. Fiber length and absorbency, remove it from its wrapping and condition it for not less than 4 hours in standard atmosphere of 65% relative humidity at 21 degree before determining the fiber length and absorbency. Then about the sterility. It should satisfy the sterility test. The next point, gauze. In that first one, absorbent gauze. Usually we called it as absorbent cotton gauze. Then category for the absorbent gauze. Surgical aid for pre-operative preparation, for cleaning and swabbing, for direct wound dressing. Then packaging and storage. In well-closed container such that the sterility of content is maintained until the package is opened for use. Waxed paper should not be used for any wrapping in contact with gauze as it reduces the absorbency. Then labeling. Label should indicate, first point, its type or thread count, length and width and the number of pieces contained. Second point, non-sterilized or not sterilized, and if sterile, then content may not be sterile if the package bear evidence of damage or has been previously opened. And then third point, the name of manufacturer, packer and distributor. The next one, identification test. It produces violet color after treatment with iodinated zinc chloride solution. Then threads per stated length. Warp average 73 per 10 cm and weft average 57 per 10 cm. Then wet per unit area. Average 15 gram per meter square. Acidity or alkalinity. The extract with water does not show pink color with phenolphthalein but shows yellow color with methyl orange. Then sterilization. It may be sterilized by autoclaving, hot air oven or by ionizing radiation. Then second gauze, absorbent ribbon gauze. Usually we called it as a unmedicated ribbon gauze. It consists of cloth of plain view supplied in ribbons of various width and length. The threads are of cotton or rayon. Uses. It is used to pack sinus, throat, dental cavities and open infected wound to assist healing. Then third one, gauze and cotton tissue. It consists of thick layer of absorbent cotton wool enclosed in gauze in tubular form. Uses. It is used as an absorbent and protective pad with or without an additional dressing. Then gauze swab. It consists of absorbent cotton gauze type 13, light or absorbent cotton and viscose gauze type 1 folded into square or rectangles of 8 ply with no cut edges exposed. Then uses of non-woven swab. It consists of non-woven viscose fabric folded 4 ply having the purpose swabbing and cleansing. Next point, bandages. So in that first one, retention bandages. The retention bandages are of two types. First one, non-stretch fabric. Second one, stretch fabric. So we will study about non-stretch fabric retention bandages. So there are three types of non-stretch fabric retention bandages. Out of that, first one, triangular calico bandage. It consists of triangular shaped piece of unbleached cotton cloth of plain view. Uses. It is used as a sling. Then second one, domed bandage. It consists of fabric of plain view in which the warp threads are of cotton and weft threads are of wool. Usually it is used mainly for orthopedic purposes. Then third one, open wove bandage. It consists of cotton cloth of plain view. Usually it is used in protection and retention of absorbent dressing. Then second classification, that is stretch fabric retention bandage. Again this is classified into cotton conforming bandage and polyamide and cellulose contour bandage. So we will study about cotton conforming bandage. It consists of cotton cloth of plain view treated to impart some elasticity to warp and weft so that it is used to protect dressing and hold them in a place at difficult positions such as joint. Then second one, polyamide and cellulose contour bandage. Usually we called it as a nylon and viscose stretch bandage. Fabric plain view containing warp of polyamide filament and the weft of cotton or viscose. The edges are fast with continuous length. It is used for retention of dressing. Then second main classification of bandage, that is support and compression bandage. Again it is classified into 5 types. In that first one, creepy bandage. It consists of fabric of plain view in which the warp is of cotton and wool threads and weft is of cotton threads. It is used in the treatment of sprains and strain and other conditions which require light support. Then second one, cotton creepy bandage. A fabric of plain view in which the warp threads are of creepy twisted cotton and web threads are of cotton or rayon. Then third one, cotton stretch bandage. It is a fabric of plain view having the warp threads are of creepy twisted cotton and webbed threads of cotton. Then fourth one, cotton and rubber elastic bandage. It is fabric of plain view having the warp threads of cotton and rubber and web threads of cotton. And then last one, elastic adhesive bandage. It is woven fabric elastic in warp and weft of cotton and rayon thread spread with adhesive mask containing zinc oxide, so that it is used as a compression for chronic leg ulcers. Then third one, main type, medicated bandages. Usually there are 4 types of medicated bandages. In that first one, zinc paste bandage. It is cotton fabric of plain view impregnated with suitable paste containing zinc oxide. Packaging for the same. It should be enclosed in a sealed packages which prevent the entry of moisture. Then uses. It is used to support and prevent the swelling of fractured limb after the removal of plaster. And example, Zinca band. Then second one, zinc paste and coal tar bandage. It is cotton fabric of plain view impregnated with a suitable paste containing coal tar and zinc oxide. Uses. It is used in the treatment of skin disorders such as leg ulcers, neurodermatitis, chronic vesicular eczemas. Example, tar band and coal tar paste. Third one, zinc paste and istamol bandage. It is cotton fabric of plain view impregnated with suitable paste containing zinc oxide and istamol. Then last one, plaster of Paris bandage. It is cotton cloth impregnated with dried calcium sulfate and suitable adhesives so that the calcium phosphate remains adherent to the fabric. Packaging. It should be enclosed in the containers which prevent access of moisture and damage by pressure. Uses. It is used for immobilization and splinting of fractures and for construction of body support. The next point, adhesive tapes. The surgical adhesive tapes are of 3 types. First one, permeable, second one, semi-permeable, and third one, impermeable or occlusive. So we will start with the permeable surgical adhesive tape. It is classified into 2 types. First one, zinc oxide surgical adhesive tape, and second one, elastic surgical adhesive tape. So we will start with the first one, zinc oxide surgical adhesive tape. It is a fabric of plain view having warp and web threads of cotton or rayon spread with an adhesive containing zinc oxide. Second one, elastic surgical adhesive tape. It is woven fabric elastic in warp, weft of cotton or rayon thread spread with adhesive mask containing zinc oxide. Example, flexoplast and elastoplast. Then second one, semi-permeable surgical adhesive tape. It is water impermeable, air and water vapor permeable plastic film spread with an adhesive mask. Uses. It is used for covering dressing and appliances where free passage of air and water vapor but exclusion of water is required. Then third one, impermeable or occlusive surgical adhesive tape. It consists of water impermeable plastic film spread with an adhesive mask. It is used for securing dressing covering site of infection where exclusion of air, water and water vapor is required. The next one, test for sterility of surgical dressing and sutures. The BPC 1973 described the test for sterility of surgical dressing and sutures as below. Method. In that first one, testing area. The test must be carried out under aseptic conditions in sterile area. The condition may be achieved by using laminar flow. Then second one, sample. If sample consists of numerous homogeneous items, Example, individually wrapped dressing or sealed container of suture, the item should be divided into 3 equal groups to perform the repeat test, if required, from each group on previously unopened item. In case of suture, whole of the strand in the container should be used for the test. Then third one, culture media. We have to use the tryptone as where soya broth is recommended for use in test. The next one, quantities to be used in a test. That first one, culture media, where use the volume prescribed in the individual monograph. Then second one, test item, where take 3 test portion each of 1 gram dressing unwoven material and 10 centimeter square dressing woven material. Then inoculation medium. Inoculate the container of selected medium, that is tryptone soya broth, with test portion. The next one, incubation. After inoculation, incubate the container at 32 degrees Celsius plus minus 2 degrees Celsius for 10 days and observe them for growth of microorganism at intervals. The next one, test procedure for non-absorbable sutures. So same procedure mentioned above with the following modifications. In that first one, quantities to be used in the test, where culture media, use 50 ml portion of the medium, and for the test item, use a whole strand for freshly opened container and incubate for the 12 days. The next one, controls of the test. There are 2 points. In that first one, the adequacy of aseptic transfer techniques must be established by performing the test simultaneously with control items which are identical to test items. And second one, the effectiveness of culture medium in the presence and absence of sample items must be established. And second point, elimination of antimicrobial property. If the item under test shows the antimicrobial property, then it should be eliminated by first one, including a specific inactivator in the culture medium, and second, using membrane filtration technique to remove antimicrobial agent. The next one, other hospital supply. The equipment needed for the administration of parenteral drugs include syringes, cannulas, and final filtration mechanism. These devices must be sterile, pyrogen free, and free from particulate matter. There are 4 categories of syringe tips: Luer lock tip, Luer slip tip, eccentric tip, and catheter tip. So we will see one by one. Firstly, Luer lock tip. It is stronger and permanently attached to the syringe. Second one, Luer slip tip. These do not lock in place. Due to pressure of injection, it may get displaced. Then eccentric tip. It is used when needle is to be kept as parallel to the field of injection as possible. And fourth one, catheter tip. It is not used for injection but commonly used for irrigation. The next one, types of syringes. So syringes are classified on the basis of their composition as glass reusable, glass disposable, and plastic disposable. So usually syringes are available in sizes from 1 ml to 60 ml and all have the design of round plunger or piston within a barrel. For reusable syringes, the glass plunger is ground to fit a given barrel exactly. The barrel of the syringe is graduated in millimeters. In the design of syringes, for small volumes, the barrel is long and slender to achieve greater accuracy in measuring volume. Insulin syringes are graduated in units of insulin, that is 40, 80, 100 units per ml. Tuberculin syringes have capacities of 1 ml and a volume of 0.05 ml can be measured with accuracy. Then glass disposable syringes. These cost less than glass reusable one but more than those made from plastic. Compared with plastic syringes, glass disposable syringes have the advantage of ease in handling and less compatibility problem than plastic syringes. These are made from either polyethylene or polypropylene plastic and are available as sterile packaged items. They are sterilized after packaging with either ethylene oxide or radiations. The next point, maintenance of IV lines. Inspect regularly for swelling or sign of infection. Keep site clean and dry. Consider resetting the cannula after 72 hours. Change administration sets within 72 hours. Wipe the hub of the cannula with an alcohol impregnated swab before attaching the administration set. The next one, central venous catheter. Various types of central venous catheters are used for variety of parenteral medications such as total parenteral nutrition solutions, cancer chemotherapy, long-term antibiotic therapy, and blood components. The length of the time the central venous catheter remains in place varies from days to months or years. Indwelling catheters. The prolonged intravenous therapy needs multiple punctures of the veins, which can be avoided by using these plastic catheters. These catheters are made from polyvinyl chloride, Teflon, and polyethylene. This should be removed within 48 hours of inspection or insertion. This should be radio opaque so that this can be observed on X-ray films. The choice of catheter depends on time and purpose of infusion. These indwelling catheters are of three types. First one, plain plastic catheter. These are used in emergency situation when superficial veins are unavailable. It is without needle and inserted into vein by surgical incision. Then second one, catheter outside needle. The catheter accompanies the needle into the vein during vein puncture. After insertion in the vein, the catheter hub is held in place and the needle is removed and discarded. Third one, catheter inside needle. It consists of stainless steel needle with plastic tubing inside its lumen. After vein puncture, the plastic catheter is advanced into the vein. The next point, IV sets. These sets are used to administer IV fluids. They are sterile, pyrogen-free, disposable, relatively inexpensive, and simple to use. The main disadvantage is lack of accuracy. Then components of IV set. In that first one, a plastic spike to pierce the rubber closure or plastic seal on the IV container. Then drip chamber for trapping the air and adjusting the flow rate with clamp. Then third one, clamp. Adjustable clamp of screw or roller type pinches the tubing to regulate the flow. A polyvinyl chloride tubing terminating in gum rubber injection port. The flow rate should be accurate to ensure patient safety and optimum drug efficacy. Inaccurate flow rate can cause phlebitis or thrombophlebitis, delayed or toxic response to drug therapy, metabolic problems and speed shock, pulmonary edema resulting in impaired cardiac and renal functions. Thank you.